Okay, so let's get right into it. France, sending Mirage fighter jets to Ukraine.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about it. We got to take a deep dive into this. Figure out what it means for Ukraine's defense against Russia.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about this is that France didn't just suddenly decide to send jets over.
Right.
They've been actually training Ukrainian pilots and mechanics on these specific aircraft for the past 6 months quietly.
Wow.
So this is like a carefully planned move. It wasn't just a reaction, you know.
Yeah, so France has been thinking ahead. When are these jets actually arriving, though?
Delivery should begin pretty soon, actually. All 6 aircraft are expected to be in Ukraine by mid-2025.
6 jets doesn't sound like a lot, but I feel like this is way more significant than it seems.
Oh, absolutely. You have to look at the bigger picture here. This is about France strengthening Ukraine's air combat capabilities.
Okay.
You know, Russia has an advantage in the air right now. And these jets are a step towards evening things out a little bit.
So these Mirages, they're supposed to give Ukraine a fighting chance against the Russian jets. What can these Mirage 2005Fs actually do?
Whoa.
I read they've got this delta wing design. Is that just for looks?
No, not at all. The Delta Wing makes the Mirage incredibly maneuverable, like super agile in a dogfight, really crucial when facing off against Russian jets, like the Su-35.
So they can, like, dance around the Russian fighters. Nice. What about weapons, though?
They're not just about fancy flying. They pack some serious firepower, too. They can carry a whole range of air-to-air and air-to-ground missiles. So they're versatile, you know, for different types of missions.
Okay, now we're talking. What kind of missions are we talking about here?
Well, think about the challenges that Ukraine's facing right now.
Well,
They need to protect their cities from Russian bombing raids,
right.
support their ground troops, disrupt those Russian supply lines that have been fueling the invasion. The Mirage, with all its different weapons, can play a role in all of that.
I read that they carry the Opernary air-to-air missile. Is that right?
You're right on the money, and that's a big deal. Because the Maiko has a longer range than anything Ukraine currently has.
Okay.
That means Ukrainian pilots can engage Russian jets from farther away. Huge tactical advantage.
So Ukraine can start pushing back against Russian air superiority. It's interesting that France chose to send the Hezn 5F variant. Is there something special about that particular model?
Back in 1991, France upgraded the Mirage 2000 to the Necta 5F standard. New cockpit with advanced displays, even more powerful weapon systems. They basically gave the Mirage a brain boost.
A brainy fighter jet. That's something you don't hear every day. Makes you think about the Ukrainian pilots, though. This must be a pretty steep learning curve, switching from Soviet-era aircraft to these modern jets.
You've hit on a crucial point there. Even with 6 months of training, adapting to a completely different aircraft takes time and effort.
Right.
These pilots are used to Russian systems, Russian tactics,
Yeah.
transitioning to Western technology and doctrine. It's a huge adjustment even for really experienced pilots.
It's like a whole different way of thinking.
Yeah.
And France's support for Ukraine isn't just about these jets. They've also been sending artillery missiles, air defense systems. It's like they're giving them a whole defensive toolkit.
Exactly, and it's a clear sign that France is stepping up its commitment to help Ukraine defend itself. They're not just offering symbolic support, they're providing the weapons and training that Ukraine needs to resist Russia.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. France is sending these advanced Mirage 2005F jets to Ukraine. Could potentially change things in this conflict, especially in the air. But the impact really depends on how quickly Ukrainian pilots can master these new systems, integrate them into their strategy.
Right.
Will these jets be enough to shift the balance of power in Ukraine's favor? And if so, how will Russia respond? Those are questions that we're all going to be watching closely in the months to come.
Absolutely.